Dude, the mail just ran and we got another new RTR to check out. Now I know some of you guys love when I do these RTR videos, like this guy. So let's go check it out. Oh, and too many RTRs is technically TOO mini. So maybe we're just talking about something completely different. I don't know. So I really have just kind of been enjoying the RTRs and the small tire trucks lately, you know, just like this Tank 300. I've really been having fun driving this thing, and I'm kind of reworking the indoor course here to hopefully kind of fit these small trail trucks a little bit better. And I actually broke the link mount on this the other day. I dropped it off the table and broke the mount on the axle. I don't even know where to get parts for this, but hopefully I can find that part. If you guys know where to get parts for these, let me know. But the 24M, even a smaller SCX24, just it's fun to go drive those limited trucks sometimes where you really have to pick that line. It's not going to go out and destroy everything, so you kind of got to play it smart and pick the perfect line for them. And that's where this is kind of going to fit in. It really just released right when I'm in the perfect mood for it. You know, the custom builds, I do them all the time. At this point, like, somebody's releasing a new chassis daily. They've been working on it forever, and they're so excited for it to release. And then I see it, and I'm like, that's the same crap I built a year ago. You changed the skid 1/4 of a degree and put 2 shock mounting options on it, you know, slapped your name to it, and now it's yours, and it's the greatest thing ever, you know. So I kind of like to just play with these RTRs, see what these companies are offering, especially, you know, some of these companies like Red Cat. They're really, and Hobby Plus. Red Cat and Hobby Plus, in my opinion, have really just went above and beyond everybody else at this point. The way they're just constantly trying to make better and better for us, that's really cool. And then this thing is just something completely new out of the blue. You know, UDIRC, I kind of skipped the little buggy that they released. I just had lemur flashbacks when I seen that thing. I wasn't really a fan of it, and so I held out on it. But then when I seen the Toyota Land Cruiser here, I had to have it. It just fits what I'm in the mood for at the moment, and it's something completely new. So you'll notice this comes in a tan and a black version. I picked up the tan just because I've seen a few people with the black. I wanted something different. I felt like the tan was kind of a blank canvas. If we want to do a little paint work on this, maybe paint the bed black. You could even do some rusting and that sort of thing on it. It does come with stickers for the body, so some stickers to run down the side. We actually have the stickers here for the tailgate. I was thinking we could just paint that, but we've got stickers that come with it to slap on there. But overall, the paint job is kind of meh. You know, the door handles and nothing really has any trim work to it, but we can always touch that up. We do get some pretty cool little features on it as far as wipers. The mirrors are a nice rubber mirror, so they fold in. You don't have to worry about those breaking off. And then we've got the bumper up front, sort of a clean flush mount style bumper on the rear. It's not the absolute greatest hard body, but it's a pretty good looking little body for what this truck is, in my opinion. Now we are running some very small tires on here. These measure about 41 to 41.5 millimeters, depending how tight you want to clamp down on it when you're measuring. So I did pick up some 0.7 wheels and tires from RC 4-wheel drive. Now, my tires haven't arrived yet, but I was playing around with the wheels to see how they would fit. And the only thing you're gonna have to do is you will have to drill this center out. So you'll have to drill the center hole right here out a bit to fit onto this axle. The wheel nut on this is the same as an SCX24. Unfortunately, these wheels just set directly onto the pin. They don't use the hex. You take the hex off, they fit straight onto the pin itself. So once these are on there, there's not enough thread on the axle sticking out to use the stock wheel nut. So you're gonna need some of the barrel style wheel nuts. Now I've already shaved this one down, so I don't know if you guys will really be able to tell, because you're gonna need the barrel style that goes down inside the wheel itself, but then you're also gonna have to shave a little bit off of that. Now, I did a little more than I needed to on this one, but this is gonna work, this current setup right here. I did have to put a rubber O-ring on there as well. So you need the barrel style wheel nut, cut down a little bit or shaved down just a little bit, a rubber O-ring, drill your wheel out, and this combo actually bolted up just fine on here, and I think is going to work and look pretty good, and it's going to allow us to run the RC four-wheel drive 0.7 tires. I don't know how well these tires are going to perform. They feel pretty good, but it's always nice to have other tire options. So I got a couple sets of those on the way. We'll play with that when they get here. So the body on this is a clipless, very nice for a hard body. It's really like the Kyosho Mini Z. You kind of pinch these two things in. Now I find myself doing one at a time because it's really a pain to try to do them both. The tabs don't stick out very far at all, which is nice because you're not dragging them all the time, but it's a little tough to get that off sometimes. You'll see there, we do have lights connected front and rear. Turn signals no matter what you do, so we're gonna have to unplug our turn signals because that's gonna drive me nuts. But a pretty nice layout here. We do have a brushless combo in this one. It's available in brushed and brushless. This is a 3500 kV outrunner motor here. It's the monoclonius or whatever this brand here is. So we get a 2S monoclonius 350 mAh LiPo, nice flat battery. It just mounts right up here. There's a couple bands. Nice, clean, easy to throw in here. It's up front, so pretty good for the layout. It just has a balance port on it, so you don't have an extra battery lead. That's kind of cool too. It keeps it pretty clean. All-in-one ESC receiver with the same plug, obviously. Then we have two servos here. So one of these runs your 2-speed transmission. You have a low, a neutral, and a high. So one of these shifts that. The other is for our tank turn, which is basically dig. So it will lock this rear end and allow you to just kind of pull the truck around like this. So our steering angle isn't great. It's not terrible, but with that tank turn, it'll turn pretty tight. Pretty clean layout overall for the transmission, in my opinion. For the transmission, having two servos connected to it, this ESC mounted to it as well. It's not bad. It's pretty compact for all of that being in one spot. It's supposed to have metal gears in here. It shows metal gears on the box, all metal gears in the axles. Pretty basic chassis and links and all of that. And that's where a truck like this, probably not going to get upgraded links and all of that for it. Maybe down the road we'll get some upgrades for this. I don't know if it catches on and it becomes popular. It looks like we can definitely just get away with SCX24 drive shafts if needed. You can probably adapt pretty much any SCX24 style link to it if you measure it out and make it work, that sort of thing. But I fired this up just to kind of show you the transmitter functions. I will say, if you don't have good batteries in this transmitter, the truck will just do nothing. I thought something was wrong with it at first. This was flashing. The light on here was flashing. My batteries were just basically dead that I'd tossed in here. And so it wouldn't do anything. I changed the batteries out. We're fine now. But we do have our low, neutral, and high is right here, just like we're pretty much used to. Our channel 3 button is here. That works our lights. So you'll see here, we always have signals, unfortunately, so we're gonna have to unplug those because they're pretty annoying. But we just have an on and an off for those lights. Now the ones in the bumper, they're just on all the time. We do have a reverse light when we hit reverse. No brake light. So just a reverse once you're in reverse for a second. The transmitter itself, pretty nice feel to it. It really reminds me of the ones we're getting with the SCX24s now. Just as far as the feel goes. We do have this little nub right here that really helps with one wheel or one-hand driving. If you're a one-hand driver, shooting videos or whatever. A pretty good feel overall on this transmitter. We do have a little lanyard hook right here. So that's pretty cool added bonus to it. It will stand up like that, so not bad. Or you can always just lay them down like that. Now inside here we have our steering trim. We have a front steering trim and a rear steering trim. So apparently if you wanted to add rear steer, you could probably just work it off that knob as you're driving. This obviously doesn't have rear steer, so we're not going to be using that. But the front steering trim is just to straighten your front wheels up. Our steering dual rate is over here, and that's something, it was turned down to like 50% out of the box. You're definitely going to want to turn that up, and I turned it all the way up, 100%. And turning the wheel and giving it throttle, there's no binding. So on mine, even at 100%, we're nice and smooth. If you turn it up to 100% and this is kind of skipping and binding, then you need to dial it back just a little bit. But this one has no issues whatsoever. Very nice slow crawl. We'll get to that in a minute. Throttle trim is your throttle trim, obviously. Pretty simple. Channel 5 works our dig. Check that out. So you press it, flip it up, it locks it. Down, it's unlocked. So we're just in normal four-wheel drive there. Press that up, locks that rear, and look at that. We can drag that rear around and make a really tight turn. Press it down, it unlocks pretty well. And one thing I did notice about this is one of our shocks, I don't know, it seems like our shocks are not working real well, because once I put dig on, this thing like kind of torque twist a little. See it right there? Leans to the driver's side. You can probably see it's leaning to that driver's side. When we unlock it, it just kind of stays there. So maybe as we're crawling, once we go over some stuff, it'll just kind of straighten itself back out. Shocks don't seem to be amazing, but they're pretty small oil-filled shocks. So we'll just have to see how those work out. Channel 6 is our drag brake. So basically, if you have it flipped down, notice how it takes it a second to stop. When I let off that, we have like a forward and then it goes to reverse. So if you flip that channel 6 up for crawling, you're probably going to want to do that. As soon as you let off of it, it stops. So a little bit of everything on here. Now we have some different modes. Mode 1 seems to be pretty normal. I have to look in the manual here as to what these modes are. Okay, so real quick, I did check out our modes, and basically that's for four-wheel steer. If you set this up to have rear steering, which is cool, I wouldn't do it with this model, but maybe if you're using this transmitter with something else, you have your mode 1 is just front steering. Mode 2, the reason why we didn't have any steering is it just controls rear. Mode 3 is four-wheel steer, and mode 4 is crab crawl. So you're not going to use that with this truck, but it's neat that it is equipped with that. The other thing that we get with this, and I don't think I mentioned, is you get a bunch of preload spacers for the shocks, a couple extra screws in there. You do get a charger. I put this stock battery on charge for about an hour with this in my truck as I was headed to work. It never did really shut off, but the battery did charge. We get a hitch. So we've got a hitch that goes with this. It mounts up on the inside of the back bumper here. So nice little scale touch with the hitch. You get a wheel wrench tool that we see with pretty much everything. And then you get both of these little Allen head tools. So pretty much all you're gonna need to work on this. Some of these screws, like here in the links, are the 1.5. And then some of the other ones are the smaller, like the drive shafts and looks like transmission screws and stuff. I do believe this is all metal gears in here. We'll pop this diff cover real quick just to see if this has any grease or anything in it. This actually comes with a servo mount already installed on this rear axle. That's why these top two screws here, or bottom at this point, are way longer than the bottoms here, because we have a servo mount up top. So that's pretty cool. If you wanted to go rear steer, you would just need your steering knuckles and then servo, basically. But as you'll see there, we do have metal gears, ball bearings in there. There is a touch of grease. I see a tiny little touch of grease. So you may want to grease this up, but it's all metal gears, all ball bearings, pretty impressive. So real quick here, just a size comparison for you guys so you can get an idea of the size of this. I think it's supposed to be around Gladiator length. I'll put the measurements up on the screen, but next to the stock C10 here, a little bit longer on the wheelbase, but overall size is very similar. And width is really not even that much difference, just the body itself is smaller, obviously. Now, next to this, it says it's an 18, right? Next to like the HPI 18th scale here, the Venture, much smaller than this truck. Although wheelbase isn't a huge difference, again, just the overall body size of it. And obviously the wheel and tire diameter, much smaller. 4M, again, it's tiny. That's N18. It's, you can't even see it behind this N18, right? So a very small 18 scale, not 18, right? More like 24th, something like that. So it does fit more along the lines of this right here. So just think of the 24M if you're looking at this. We're gonna do a quick little speed test here against the stock C10, completely stock SCX24, both on their stock 2S batteries. I'd like to compare it to a stock 24M since that has a low and a high gear, but I don't have a stock 24M anymore. Both of mine are brushless at this point. So we're just gonna compare it to the SCX24 and see what happens. In low gear, we definitely have a little more wheel speed than a stock SCX24, which is good. I've seen some people say that the low was too low and just didn't have any wheel speed. And I mean, it's better than the stock SCX24. So that's pretty impressive. Now, we're not gonna have overdrive gears or anything like that for this. And I can tell that reverse is much slower than forward. I hate that. I always just like to have my full reverse, but kind of is what it is. Obviously in high gear, we're gonna have tons of wheel speed. This thing's quick in high gear. So for the scale of this, I think that wheel speed's pretty decent. Now this is brushless compared to the C10 is brushed. So that's a difference, but both completely stock. So this is the home course, the outdoor course here. Hopefully my indoor course, I'm gonna get to work on it a little more here soon. Got a decent start going on it. And I feel like I will use this more indoor on that course and trailing out at the creek or something like that. So I don't know that it's going to do a whole lot out here. This course, it's not super tough, but it's a little harder for a trail truck. It's more of a crawling course. So we're just going to see what we can do. Tiny tires out here. This does feel kind of weird. You'll probably notice it really kind of cogging there at times. It does seem to kind of cog out. I'm actually impressed that we're making it over that gap right there. I figured this long wheelbase, this body, having the long body, we're gonna hang up, especially in a spot like this bowl right here. When the front starts to go up, that rear is gonna drag probably a little bit right there. So can we make it out? You notice that right there, that little kind of lunge, that lurch we're getting? These tires seem to really suck. We've got good wheel speed, but see that little lunge? It's not a great slow crawl. See that? I'm pretty sure you guys can tell what I'm talking about here. I mean, it does slow crawl, but it's not real clean. Especially for a brushless trail truck. You want your trail trucks to look real smooth and clean, and we're just kind of getting that. Wow, see, it's got pretty good wheel speed in low, I think. Seemed to be a decent turning angle there. Jeez, that's a tough little side hill for this truck right there. Pretty impressive. It's balanced out pretty good. Not sure there's any way it's going to get through there and actually come out the other side clean, but we're going to try it. That's a spot where the longer body, that bed sticking out in the rear, and see our long wheelbase there with the hard body. We're kind of getting high centered. Now this is some huge rocks. As you can tell, it's not going to handle that stuff real well. But this is definitely not what this truck is built for. Somebody's going to say, oh, it's a trail truck and you're crawling it. Go cry to your mama. The tires just have that cheap hollow sound. Like, you can always tell when a tire is just not a good compound, when it's like they feel good and squishy, but then you get them out here and you just hear that. But look at that, it did make it up that. The long wheelbase helps it on the uphill. Obviously the tiny tires were going to be hung up when we're rock crawling. Watch me break it before I even really get to drive it. Testing its durability. There we go. Oh my gosh, it's a trail truck. You're rock crawling it. You're stupid. You don't even know what this truck's made for. I love you guys. Look at that. Tell me it can't crawl. Tiny tires putting in work. Now, can we get freed up here and dig the bumper in? Oh, somebody's cringing somewhere. Getting all these scratches. Oh, that's a good one. Hey, the good thing is we won't have to do any distressing to the body, right? It's going to get it naturally. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get over that with this long wheelbase. If I do get over it, then I'm going to get over it too quick and go rolling down the hill. There we go. Let's see what happens here. Try to get a nice slow crawl. As long as it is, it should handle this halfway decent. But again, this stuff is huge compared to this truck. Like, yeah. I definitely got to take this out trailing. Next video, guys, I'm going to have this out at the creek. Let's see what happens here. Oh, the long wheelbase helps you on the uphills for sure. We can almost get that. A little weight in the front, we would get it for sure. And that's in low gear on just the 2S battery. You have to be careful. It wants to flip. It really wants to flip. Yeah. Backwards or sideways, but look at that. I cannot believe this little thing just made that. I mean, the length helped it for sure. That's the only reason it really made it. But still, the tires, that's crazy. Pretty impressive. There's definitely much larger trucks out of the box that can't do that. That slow crawl lunge is terrible. Like, see that? It's the gearing is definitely funky. Like, it's almost too quick and low, especially sometimes when you punch it. The cool thing is this tiny little wheelbase. Let's see, we should be able to like fit between here. Yeah, not really. but nothing ever really goes between those two rocks right there. And this kind of did. It likes uphill. Is the tire coming off the rim in the back? Like, it kind of looks like it. Let's see. I didn't even touch on these wheels and tires. They are just a glued on or sat on there tire. It looks like maybe it did have a little glue. Just, no, maybe not. I don't know. They're not a bead lock, so they are just on there. You're either gonna glue them or do away with them. So this is obviously not gonna take over the 24 game. I think, personally, I definitely prefer the 24M, just because there are upgrades available for it. Parts are much easier to get, and it's just a little bit better experience out of the box. But for a tiny tire truck, out of the box, it's kind of cool. Like, I'm not mad at it. I do think it should be like, I mean, the brushed version should be like $80, maybe $100. This brushless should be more like $120, $130. So, I don't know, drop the price $40 maybe overall. Pretty good little truck, especially if we get any sort of upgrades. So the main thing for this is, are we gonna get parts? You know, if we get some upgrades, like, it would be awesome. It'd be a great little truck to have. And look, we didn't even take the stickers off the windows or windshield. I just started driving it. But if we can at least get replacement parts, as long as A-Main or somebody starts to carry replacement parts, it's definitely a fun little truck worth getting, I guess. You're not going to go out and really compete with anybody. So if you're new to the hobby and you're wanting to go out and run with other people that are in the micro game, unless they just have this truck, you're probably not going to keep up whatsoever. So I'd say it's like an add-on for us that have a little bit of everything already and we just want something kind of different. It's a neat little truck to play around with. If we can get some upgrades, that would be awesome, but we've got to at least get replacement parts. If you don't get replacement parts, then it's just a complete waste of money, because as soon as this thing breaks, it's done with, you know. So we'll have to see how that goes. As I said earlier, A-Main has replacement parts for the buggy, like the UDIRC has. So I'm hoping they get them for this eventually. Well, here, let's check out this tank turn right here. Look at that. That's crazy. We're still slipping. It's not doing us any good right here. Oh, can we keep it on the course? Look at that. I think we should just all start calling it tank turn. There is no more dig. It's tank turn. Duh. I'm going to try to go back up this. I don't know if we can get that. It is a completely different experience driving one of these little trucks, because, oh wow, it handled that really well. I didn't think it would go up that easily. I wish it was a short wheelbase, not the 4-door, you know, because it would really help it as far as what it's able to do. With the tiny tires and the long wheelbase, you're gonna hang up like that a lot. But it just makes you pick better lines, you know, especially out trailing this. This is the worst place to test this, honestly, but I just didn't have time to get out to the creek or anything today. And I really want to change the tires, or be able to change the tires while I'm at the creek. we'll probably try these out at the creek just to see how they do, and then we'll swap them out. Look at that. Tank turn. Tank turn. So what do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments. I'm not sure it's worth 165, 70 bucks, whatever it's going to cost you after shipping and everything. Until we get some parts, it's definitely not. But it's not terrible, like, especially for their sort of first shot at this. Trail truck 24. I mean, it's a long way from what, we were getting with even stock SCX24s. I could probably have more fun with this going out running it than a stock SCX24 because it just looks a little better in my opinion. We have tank turn. I mean, how long have we had the SCX24 now and they've not did anything new or cool like that. Pretty cool that a company like UDIRC comes out of nowhere and does a 2-speed with tank turn. I can't believe it just got up that. It's doing much more than I thought it would out here. Having the huge body, I really thought we would just be stuck everywhere. And your breakovers like this right up here. Oh, this top little breakover is gonna be tough with this long wheelbase. Oh, we're gonna have to give it a little punch, but look at that. Dang, that's why sometimes these little trucks that you just feel like they're not gonna do anything, you go out and you have a blast with them because you're not expecting them to do things, and then they do it and you're hyped. I'm enjoying it, and this is not what this truck is meant for. But it's getting it done. Being as small, whoa, as small as it is. Hey, what about tank turn as a downhill brake? Does it help us? Let's see. Lock that rear. This is very steep. No, didn't work. But that will definitely work in some cases. Let's try it right here. Tank turn engaged. Oh, it's like a brake, and then it still died. That was cool though. Like, that will help you on some downhills and stuff. So I think when I put the RC 4-wheel drive wheels on here, I'm gonna wrap the golf weights on the inside of it, of the wheel, like your ring, and that'll give us a little weight down low. Obviously, we don't have any brass available for this yet. Probably won't even be any, I don't know, but there's other things we could do, but I like it. It's fun. It's something a little different. If we can get some parts, I think it's gonna be a fun little truck. So maybe we could tear into this and see what kind of pinion we have on there and play with our pinion size just to kind of help that little bit of a jerk we get right there. But look at this thing climb. It likes the uphills, that long wheelbase. It does like uphill. Just that lunge right there. I know you guys can see that. It's just kind of like, it's kind of annoying. But it doesn't stop me from enjoying it or, make it terrible to run. It just doesn't look as clean as it could, because we get that lunge, that jerk. Can we make a little, it's smooth though. See that, like from forward to reverse? A little back up so we can try to punch it. Back up, punch it a little. Ah, if I can get that over. Gotta get that front tire over that. But our rear is just hung up. I don't think we're gonna get it. Ah, you were so close. I think if you have a tight indoor course, it'd be a fun little truck. It is a longer wheelbase, so it's still not gonna do great on real tight turns, but you do have tank turn, so that'll help. I feel like for what the truck is and the size of it, the price is kind of gonna hurt it. Like, even the brushed version, I think, should be 100 or less, because it's not a well-known brand, for one. It's probably going to be hard to get parts and definitely upgrades for it. So it's going to be hard for this thing to compete with the trucks that we're getting in the $100 to $150 range, which is kind of where this, especially the brushed version, but even this one, it falls pretty much in that range. And for what we're getting at those prices right now, you're going to get way more performance with some of the other trucks, like the Hobby Plus trucks and the Ascents. So I don't know that anybody's going to go choose this, especially since it's so much smaller than what everybody's gotten used to running in the 24s or 18s. So that's kind of going to kill it, because you're not going to pick one of these up to go out and run with your buddies who already have SCX24s and, wow, look at that, Ascent 18s and Hobby Plus trucks, you know, the Evo Pros and stuff. Man, high gear is fast. This little thing, man, and this is just stock 2S battery. I don't think I would want to put a 3S, just because for the size of the truck and the components, you're not really going to need 3S. I've got to cut some grass. It's just been like crazy dry, and so like the grass is not real high everywhere, but the weeds right here are just terrible. Man, if I could just get the right hit on this, I think it could make it up that. Just the right line. One more try. Oh, we almost made it. So final thoughts, I think this is a good little addition to this hobby. It's kind of in its own little league. It's really, I've been comparing it to this, just because this is what I've been calling kind of a tiny tire truck at the moment, you know, a scale trail truck with smaller tires than everything else that we've been running. But this is really more like Kyosho Mini Z size. And comparing it to that, I hated that thing. I converted mine to brushless and lipo, and I mean, I liked the body, but that was pretty much it. The chassis layout and just all of the work you had to put into it, honestly, was a nightmare. So this, in my opinion, is way better than that. I think this is a pretty good starting point for a truck this size. As you can see, these shocks seem to have settled in pretty well. They got a nice little cush to them. Look at that. Overall, I mean, it performs really well. I did some checking, and this shares pretty much most every part with the UDIRC UCX18 or whatever, the Snow Leopard. There are a few unique parts, that, like obviously the body mount sliders here. Those things are actually available on A-Main as well. So most every part that I'd searched for was already on there. It does have a manual that has very good exploded views of each like axle and transmission and everything, and it lists part numbers. So you can just search up the part number and boom, it pops up. Pretty much A-Main is where I've seen everything every time. So parts are available. I actually seen an aluminum rear axle housing. I didn't see a front, but maybe it shares a front with the Snow Leopard. I don't know, and they have it listed somewhere. But if we can get parts for it, then it's definitely a plus. So for me, absolutely worth picking up. It's not gonna go kill a bunch of lines, just know that. I mean, you can tell compared to these tires, these are like 53s maybe or something. I don't even remember what these are, the growlers. But I actually just put these tires on here. That's why they look so clean. But this is a small tire for what we're used to running. And this is way smaller than that, right? So it's going to be an absolute trail truck. Just know that going into it. I look forward to getting this out at the creek, having some fun on the trail. I want to say thanks to you guys. Thanks to the channel members for jumping on board with that. I really appreciate that. You guys help out with me being able to pick things like this up and try them out. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys sticking around for this. Let me know what you think about it and look forward to this being on the trail soon. Peace.